So here today we are at Horseshoe Beach and we are with the lifeguards and we're going to be talking about drowning. And here we have
Alana,
Kevin,
Bruno.
and they are senior lifeguards here at Horseshoe Beach. So my first question to you guys is, what is their general role as a lifeguard? Whoever wants to speak to that.
As a lifeguard, we just like to ensure that everyone's safe and the beaches are protected. Prevention is our key role.
Okay, and what are some of the duties that you do while you're on duty?
anything from first aids to actually going out and helping people in the water. Also just answering questions and helping out the public in general.
Yeah, we work as ambassadors for Bermuda as well, so for a lot of the tourists come up to us and ask us questions about the island, about the beach and what to do and stuff. So.
As a distressed swimmer, we look at how they're swimming, their pattern, their speed, if they're going really slow and looking tired or possibly injured. Look at and if there's any kind of rip currents, Portuguese man of war in the area, possibly looking more distressed than normal swimmers.
Distress can just be like a tired swimmer, someone who's maybe not swimming normally, whereas active drowning tend to be not moving at all. They're no longer able to call for help because they're just focused on staying up, and they tend to be swimming what we call climbing the ladder, which is vertical swimming, trying to stay up rather than going forward. Normally when someone gets to the point of drowning, they don't have enough energy or sort of the presence of mind to be waving their arms. They're just trying to keep themselves afloat. So
there are different stages of drowning. So you have a distressed swimmer, which if it's not taken care of will turn into an active drowner, and then if that's not taken care of, there'll be a passive drowner, and that's when you're face down in the water and you can't unresponsive. When a child is in or near the water, the parents need to be vigilant. They need to know where they are at all times and what they're playing with. If they're on a floaty and can't swim, they need to make sure that they're not going out to beyond standing depth in case they fall out. They need to be aware of other elements on the beach, like the sun, the sand. A lot of children like to throw sand, and that can result in injury. So yeah, just making sure that they're being watched over all the time and acting responsibly.
And would you say that the parents need to be actually in the water with, say, toddlers or small children?
Yes.
What are some of the places that parents or older children can go to learn CPR or first aid?
There are various places on the island that you can learn CPR. The Red Cross is one of the main ones, but you can also go to St. John's, the American Heart Association.
And even in the Parks Department, we have a program through the parks, which is the Red Cross trained personnel, and we have the RLSS, Royal Life Saving Society, through the Bermuda Lifeguard Service.
Okay. And how would parents or families know when they're coming to the beach? Like, do you have up some sort of flags, and what do the flags mean, and how would they know if, say, there are Portuguese man of war in the water?
We actually have a few signs along the entrances of the beaches that will let you know what each flag means. Our normal lifeguarding flag is a red and yellow flag or a white flag that says lifeguard on it. And those are normal days at the beach. We then have like a yellow flag, which is for caution, possibly rip currents or high surf, and then red flags is when the beach is actually closed. And we also place those red flags in areas on the beach where we section off that are too dangerous, and we try to leave as much open as we can so that people can enjoy the beach.
In Bermuda we're really lucky because you can see the rip currents because we have clear water. When the sand gets churned up, that's an obvious sign of a rip current. So if you find yourself in really sandy water and you can feel yourself being pulled out, that's a sign that you're in a rip current.
Okay.
And what we say to beach patrons when we go down and advise them is that if you feel yourself being pulled out, don't try and swim against it because you'll tire yourself out. Mm-hmm. The best thing to do is to swim parallel to the shore, and then to swim in once you're out of the rip current, and then it's much easier to swim in. Because people can swim against the current, get tired, become distressed, and that's when we go down. We try our best to go down when we see a rip current, and if we see somebody in there, we'll go down before anything happens and just warn people about them, because we find that's the best way to prevent anything from happening.
And a lot of the rips that we get here are just flash rips. They just pop up for just a few seconds, but they can also catch people off guard. So it's good for us just to get down in the water and just let them know that they're in the rip and how to get out of it.
So generally when someone's stung, it's a very sharp pain right at the area of being stung. And then oftentimes if it's a severe sting, people can go into what we call shock, which is just the body's response to a serious event. And that's when it becomes more serious for us. And so then we get them to the beach, always try and remove the tentacles as fast as we can. And then if they're in shock, we treat them for shock right away. And that includes elevating the legs, sometimes applying oxygen. And if it's a very serious case, we get an ambulance down to get them to the hospital. Every season we have some people that get stung. One such incident, there was just a father who was out snorkeling. And one thing with snorkelers is they often have their head down, right? They're not looking at their surroundings, they're looking at what's beneath them, so he didn't notice it. And I guess a wave just sort of washed it onto his back. And so he actually got quite a bit of the tentacles on him. And we pulled him in and immediately was in a lot of pain. We brought him to the beach. We actually got him up here, got him in the shade so that he's more comfortable. Remove the tentacles, apply some vinegar to help neutralize the stings. And then since his condition wasn't improving very quickly, we had to put him on oxygen. We continued monitoring his vital signs, making sure he wasn't getting worse. But since he wasn't getting better, we actually did have to call an ambulance. And they came down and they actually removed him to the hospital for further treatment.
So when we have a really packed day on the beach, how do you guys, or do you actually come off the stand of your lifeguard stand to walk through the crowds to really determine or assess how our swimmers are doing?
When it's quite busy, we obviously have to step up in the vigilance and the patrols. Being down at the water's edge is key, just for prevention purposes. We can get down and see a lot more people. So we try to get down. Do some water patrols. We're down on the chairs already, so we just keep a close eye. We have to get on the binocs quite often, and we just work together. We try to have more people working on the beach just to cover.
And also, because we've got the 2 chairs, the tower is responsible for the whole beach. When you're at either chair, you're focusing more on a certain zone, which also helps. So then you've got multiple eyes on a certain area of the water, especially when it's crowded.
On a really busy day though, I would just sort of add that it's definitely more important for parents to keep an eye on small children, just because it is much easier for them to sort of get lost in a crowd than an adult. So yeah, on busy days, small children should definitely be kept under close supervision.